Hey guys, before we get started, I just wanted to say I have been live pretty regularly on Twitch doing some shiny hunting, raids in Sword and Shield, and is overall playing the games a lot. So if you guys want to interact with me live, go follow me on there and have notifications on when I'm live, that way you don't miss me. Thanks guys, enjoy the video. So a couple days ago, I did a poll asking you all whether you all wanted me to rank every Gigantamax Pokemon or give you my top 10 worst Pokemon in Sword and Shield. And the majority of you really wanted my Gigantamax rankings, so here they are. Now I will say, this video was really hard to put together because all the Gigantamax forms are really good. I would even go as far as saying that I think they're better than Megas to me at this point in time, but I'll save that hot take for another day. Naturally, I determined my rankings by what I personally like the most, so that ranges from concept, to design, to even the Gmax move they sport. So with the explanation out of the way, let's hop right into these Gigantamax rankings. So I just wanted to be clear, just because a Pokemon is at the bottom of this list doesn't mean I don't like it. I felt I needed to repeat that one last time, as the very bottom of the list features Hadron. Hadron is such a dope Pokemon. In fact, I use it in my second Galar playthrough of my copy of Sword. But here's the deal, its Gigantamax just really isn't that special. I mean, sure there are a few changes here and there, but they're really not that prominent. Definitely not as much as many of the others on this list, that's for sure. Again, I do like Gigantamax Hadron, but it's definitely not my favorite by any means. And that sentiment carries over with Gigantamax Eevee. I've expressed this a few times, but of course I'll have to do it once again for this video. It just doesn't change enough. People say it's like Gigantamax Pikachu, in that it's supposed to look retro and like it's Gen 1 sprite, but it really isn't as big of a change as something like Pikachu's. The two reasons why this Gmax form is above Hadron's is simply that I love Eevee a lot, and because Eevee's Gmax Cuddle is a lot cooler looking than Hadron's Gmax Smite. Next, we have Gigantamax Meowth. Now this one is definitely really interesting, as they just take Meowth and give it the old Stretch Armstrong. This is apparently a reference to an old Japanese meme of someone stretching their cat out a bit, drawing attention to the fact that cats really are long if you stand them up. Gmax Meowth is really cool, and its Gmax Gold Rush is super useful, but there's definitely a handful of other really good Gmax forms. And finally, the last of the slightly less interesting Gmax Pokemon is Dreadnought. What can I say? I'm a little lukewarm on Dreadnought. He's a cool snapping turtle, I guess, but he's not that interesting to me personally. But his Gmax design, I guess, is a bit more solid. Although it's definitely odd to say the least, that is stand it up on its back legs. Add some pointer rock formations on it, recede its neck a little bit, and call it a day. This was definitely a good one to reveal when they first showed up Gmax forms, because while it's cool, it's definitely lacking compared to a lot of other designs I talk about later on. So when it comes to my designs I didn't expect list, Roly-Poly turning into what Colossal is really is near the top of that one. And its Gmax design is just different enough as well to escape from the it barely changed portion of the list. It went from a pile of coal with a train pilot for a face to a gigantic mountain of coal with a boiler for a body. It's just plain cool, and it really makes me appreciate how far this little pile of coal has come. Following that, we have Duraludon, which unsurprisingly got a Gmax form. I'm actually surprised it didn't reveal this one along with the others, but it was certainly cool to see it in Ryan's gym. It's just this giant skyscraper that shares some similarities with Rose Tower. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, other than it's really interesting, and I'm just in awe of how it looks. Now, I'm not even really the hugest Pikachu fan in the world, but man, it has a pretty cool Gmax form. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people are sick of Gen 1, and especially Pikachu pandering, but I can definitely be a sucker for if it's done right. Giving us fat Pikachu back with this crazy tail of lightning was pretty nostalgic and refreshing at the same time. Call me a shill, all you'd like, but Gmax Pikachu is a good design, and I won't feel bad for standing it. Machamp is just so cool. I'm not exactly sure why they went with the weird magma crack arms, but I don't really care what the reason is, to be honest. It's just awesome, and I love it. Now, I didn't experience it in my first playthrough naturally, as it's a Sword exclusive, but it was awesome to experience once I finally got around to it. Gmax Machamp really feels like a Ben 10 alien design, so it's only natural that I would love it for that reason alone. Now, I will say I like Copperage's regular form more than its Gmax form. However, I can't help but smile when I see it. It goes from this really majestic looking elephant to a big wall with a trunk and tusks. This feels like it actually belongs in the Mario universe as some sort of thwomp elephant hybrid. I should have figured it was going to get a Gmax form, as it was Chairman Rose's ace Pokemon shown throughout the games. But seeing it in that final battle was still a big wow moment for me, which made me appreciate it a lot. Now here's our first unreleased Gmax form that we'll be talking about, being Melmetal. I didn't even know there were unreleased ones until I was casually browsing Cerebi and Bulbapedia. It really makes me wonder how and when Game Freak will be fully incorporating them in the Sword and Shield, but I suppose only time will tell. I just hope it's sooner rather than later because I absolutely love Melmetal. Honestly, I wasn't as big on Melmetal as I was Melton, but seeing Gmax Melmetal changes that opinion really quick. It's actually a little bittersweet though. While it makes me like Melmetal more, it also makes me wish that would have been Melmetal's design instead. Oh well, you can't win them all. Next, we have Korva Knight, which is honestly such a top tier Pokemon in every way. Its regular design is really cool, and its Gmax takes it a step further. Sure, this could have fallen into the it barely changes category, but I did also say this comes down to my personal tastes. And those giant glowing red wings are right up my alley. Also, the shiny is super sick. If I encountered one, I would use my Master Ball without hesitation. There would be no way on earth I would risk something like that escaping. Centiskorch is special for a few reasons. One, it'll more often than not be the first new Gigantamax you see in the games, as it'll be the ace of the 3rd gym leader and fire-type specialist, Kabu. And two, it's so reminiscent of a Chinese dragon with its long red and gold body, I just couldn't help but to drop my jaw when I first saw it. In fact, the Gmax design was one of the biggest reasons I decided to use Centiskorch on my sword team. It just got me really hyped. Next, we have yet another unreleased Gigantamax form being Snorlax. Honestly, this thing shows Torterra how it's done when it comes to having an ecosystem growing on its body. If Torterra looked like Gigantamax Snorlax, I would have liked it more. It's just so cool. However, it is a bit weird that this one wasn't available straight from the get-go, as it would have been a perfect Pokemon for Hop to have. Both Marnie and Beat have their own Gigantamax Pokemon, so it's a little sad that Hop got the short end of the stick on this one. Who knows? Maybe that'll change in Sword and Shield too, Pokemon Gun, or whatever we end up getting next for Galar. Now, I don't know how the physics of Sandaconda's neck tornado work, but that doesn't really matter. The concept is just so cool. I definitely thought Sandaconda was interesting design-wise already, but I never could have imagined sticking it upright with some swirling dirt around it would make it that much more amazing. It's simple, but it works. So I'm going to be combining Flapple and Appleton's Gmax form into the same slot, because they're the same exact form. I have a little bit of mixed feelings on these two because on the one hand, it is a really cool design. It's just a goofy looking dragon lizard chilling in a honey-filled apple. But on the other hand, this form really makes more sense for Flapple than it does Appleton. Appleton should have been his big goobery self inside of a pie or something. But instead, they just made him look like Flapple. It's a little disappointing for Appleton's sake, but at the end of the day, it is still a really cool design. Aw man, Gmax Garbodor was one that really took me by surprise. Gen 5 really got a lot of love in Sword and Shield, which is very refreshing to see. Garbodor goes from just a pile of trash to a gigantic pile of trash littered with old toys and knickknacks. I really do love seeing the Lego Tower substitute and Pokédoll stuck inside the giant trash heap. And even better, its move Gmax Malador is just perfect for Garb. It's just this giant wave of raw sewage spitting from the ground that ends up poisoning everyone. It's just so perfect, which really contributes to why I gave it such a high ranking. Kingler was a big surprise to see, but it really shouldn't have. Sword and Shield actually dropped a lot of hints throughout the games on which Pokemon end up getting Gmax forms. Kingler's hint happened to be in one of the train stations on the ground. Its design is just so wild. It goes from that standard fiddler crab to a monstrous Japanese spider crab with its nightmarish long legs. But on top of that, it gets a cool bubble beard, making it look even more king-like. My only real complaint is that I wish its Gmax move was a bit more unique to the standard water move. But I digress, it's still a dope form. So what else can I really say about Charizard at this point? It's dope. It's very rugged and primal looking with a great looking Gmax move. Luckily getting one isn't too hard as Leon hooks you up in the postgame by leaving you a Charmander and a Pokeball in his bedroom. Still though, I wouldn't mind trying to hunt one down in the wild area. So Gengar is just terrifying. It takes Mega Gengar's concept of phasing through the ground to a whole nother level. It gains a really long tongue and an endless pit for a mouth. It's pretty terrifying to look at, but that's what makes it look so awesome. Its shiny also draws inspiration for Mega Gengar, having a white body with black eyes to up the creepiness factor. I really hope Game Freak does an event in the future for shiny Gmax Gengar, because this would definitely be one worth hunting for. Just missing the top 5 of these rankings is one of the last Cantonian Gmax forms being Lapras. Lapras was so deserving of another form, and this was spot on. It's just so majestic looking and has those beautiful icicles swirling around it. I wanted Lapras to get a Mega so badly back in the day, and honestly, this would have been the perfect design for it. Next up is Gigantamax Alcremie. I mean, how could I have not ranked it so highly? It's one of my absolute favorite Pokemon introduced this generation, and goes from this adorable pile of cream to a towering 4-tier cake. I have yet to get this Gigantamax Pokemon in Sword and Shield, but trust me, I'll be looking for it real soon. I need this thing in my life so badly. So as unfortunate as Hadron's Gigantamax form was, its dark counterpart Grimmsnarl got an absolutely sick one. Impidimp turning into Grimmsnarl was already such a big shock, but Grimmsnarl to G-Max Grimmsnarl was absolutely insane to see. It goes from a short-haired goblin to this crazy-looking anime villain. Its body is just so lanky and its pose is so menacing. I imagine taking this thing on would feel like a real boss battle, and that's right up my alley. And here we have the last of the unreleased Gigantamax form being Toxtricities. Man. Toxtricity was already such an awesome Pokemon, and then Game Freak had to turn around and make it even cooler. It drops down on all fours, gains blue electricity spikes, and has those sci-fi Tesla coil things on its back. And don't even get me started on its G-Max move, because it's the best out of any Pokemon on this list. I don't know how Game Freak is going to get this guy into the games, but they need to do it ASAP because I want one now. Just shy of the best Gigantamax form is Orbital. Orbital definitely has to be one of the cooler early bug Pokemon, having such a cool typing of bug and psychic, but also how it looks like something you'd see out of a mech anime. But its Gigantamax form is something special. It literally turns into a UFO. That is insane to me. This by far has to be one of the most creative forms introduced, and I really love it. But as you all know, there's one more form that I love much more. And that is Gigantamax Butterfree. I'm sure you all were guessing this throughout the video when you weren't seeing it show up. Now sure, this Gigantamax form is not super different from its original form like many of the others on this list. Plain simple, it's at the top for me because of how much I love Butterfree. It's definitely a bit biased, but it's also my list, so I get to be. I love this beautiful creature and was so happy Game Freak chose to make Butterfree an easier find, as I want to catch a bunch of them. Who knows, maybe I'll try shiny hunting one. I know a lot of you might not agree with Butterfree being this high, but it brings such a big smile to my face that others can't quite do. And that's why I rank Butterfree as being the best Gigantamax Pokemon in Sword and Shield. Well, that's going to do it for my rankings of all the Gigantamax Pokemon. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, as it was a difficult but fun video to make. I really do like all the Gigantamax Pokemon, so it was a blast to get to talk about them. I really do feel at this point that I like them more than Mega Evolutions, and if Game Freak introduced even more in the future, I'd be super thrilled. What do you guys think though? Do you enjoy Gigantamax Pokemon? If so, what are your favorites? Definitely let me know in the comments below, as I'm really interested to see your opinions. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Also, I've been reviewing every episode of My Hero Academia Season 4 over on MysticSage, so head over there if you're into that too. I would love that a lot. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Austin Lego, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sodden Grider, and Enigma97 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.